Hello again, Bishop Phonsie here. During his wonderful address before the Urbi et Orbi Blessing, Pope Francis used a phrase which I would like to dwell on just for a moment. Our lives are woven together. Our lives are woven together. This is a great truth in our Christian faith, that we are social beings, that we are made for communion. In the first pages of the book of Genesis, after God has created Adam, God says, "It is not good for man to be alone." And so he creates Eve, and the human community begins. We are not islands. We are made for communion with God and one another. We see this in family. We see this in society. But sometimes our modern culture tempts us to think individualistically. And we can see this in the advertising world very clearly, where we are being tempted to think selfishly and to think of our own needs and interests only. And indeed, in the whole area of rights, we can see the rise of the rights of the individual, even over the rights of family. And if you think about the question of the definition of an adult, I think that we would be tempted to think or to define an adult as someone who can look after himself or herself. But I would like to challenge that, because a weed in the garden can look after itself. But the definition of an adult I would put before you is a person who can look after another or others, because we are made for communion. We are not islands cut off from each other. We are always connected. As Pope Francis says, our lives are woven together. And Jesus himself underlines this when he gives us the Our Father to pray, thereby making all of us brothers and sisters living in communion with God our Father. And indeed, he sums up the whole law in love God and love your neighbor as yourself. And so, in these days when we cannot express our affection for others, we cannot meet and greet as we would like to, and our social interaction has been curtailed, I think that we are being presented again with that beautiful reality about ourselves, that we are social beings, called to live in communion with God and others, not to think individualistically as if I exist only for myself, but realizing that I am beloved by God and that other people need me. God bless you.